Hello there, Cancers. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly tarot forecast. I'm getting these out a little bit late because I decided to start making monthlies like right at the very end of June. And obviously these take a little bit of time to make. So my apologies that they're coming out a little bit late. We are going to have these broken down into segments. And so the first segment of this is going to be about the time frame from July the 8th through the 11th for you Cancers. Let me just put a good shuffle on these cards. One fell down. We're going to take that to start with, but I still want to continue to shuffle a little bit longer. And today we're using a tarot deck literally called the Good Tarot for your forecast. I record me putting down cards just because there are some people who like to see that on the video, or at least see the process, witness the process. If you are not one of those people, feel free to fast forward through the shuffle, and when I put down these cards, won't hurt my feelings at all, and it will shorten some of the time on this video for you. Okay, so we're going to cover several different areas for this time frame. And what we're going to start with, Cancers, is we're going to start with environment, your environment. And so what we have here are cards telling me about your environment. So let me define environment for you. This means anywhere where you have energy and time invested. So for most people, this will come up as home, but I have had people tell me that this is school or this is work. So just remember, it's anywhere where you have energy or time invested, and you'll recognize it as I'm talking about it. Most people generally recognize as I'm talking about which environment it is that we're looking at here. So, Cancers, it looks like there is some kind of new beginning that is happening in your environment. And it looks like there's something happening where the environment is sort of going backwards. Now, this could be that if you're I don't know, let's see, what would be a good example of this? Maybe you just got done renovating your environment and then you're realizing, you know what, I kind of liked this thing the way that it used to be. You could be going back to that. Or maybe there were people in your environment that were toxic or that were giving you problems, and now you had gotten rid of them before July 8th through 11th, and now you're actually bringing that person back into the environment. That could be going on too. But there's something about your environment where things are going backwards instead of forwards. And it's a new start. It's coming up as a new start, but it's a new start that takes you back to something old and something that was depleting before. It's definitely where you moved away from something that was negative about the environment, and now that's coming back, or you're bringing that back. Okay, so that's for Cancers. The next thing that we have coming up, Cancers 8th through the 11th. Next thing that we have coming up talks to me about your subconscious leanings. And so subconscious leanings are sort of those background programs that run in your mind. Every once in a while they'll pop up into conscious thought, and then they kind of go back to background programming again. There is a new start that's in your subconscious, and you want to make a new start with some long-term plans. However, this new start that you want to make on some long-term plans has to do with somebody, and this is a person, For most of you, this is going to be a masculine energy, but it doesn't have to be. But this is a person who really, your subconscious is working on a new start, a new long-term start with this person, but they're really angry with you. They're not happy with you. And so your subconscious is working out, okay, well, how can we get this situation to go the way that we want it to go? Okay, Cancers. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about two different things. This is going to be looking at your learning style and also your communication style, especially as we go through this particular time frame through the 8th through the 11th, or from the 8th through the 11th. So it looks like you definitely are learning some information, but there's an awful lot of emotion going on as you're learning this information. And I feel like the information that you're picking up is so surrounded by the emotion that the facts of a situation may be sort of eluding you. They may be hidden in somebody's enthusiasm or in somebody's angst as you're finding out information. So you want to be really careful there to find out if you're making any decisions about what you're learning because of what you're learning. You want to be really careful to make sure you're making decisions that make sense, that you're not just swept away by somebody else's emotions and then later on look back and ask yourself what you were thinking. As far as communication style, looks to me like you're being pretty quiet in your communication style. You're doing a lot of listening, you're doing a lot of paying attention, and I think that you are basically giving somebody an answer to something once you really have to, almost like when your back is pushed against a wall. So there's definitely a situation where somebody is wanting you to make a decision, and there's a lot of emotion behind their campaign for you to make this decision a certain way. And I think that you are really watching for evidence that this would be a good thing for you to do or not. And so you're waiting until your back is totally against a wall before you make the decision there about if you want to go with what this emotional person is trying to get you to agree to. Now, next thing that we have coming up talks to me about work. And for those of you who haven't had a private reading with me before, I'm weird about work because I see it in two different ways. I see it in that way that we make a living or how we feel productive in the community, but I also see it in what we're doing to improve our own character for our own personal happiness. Okay, so we're going to look at this both ways. So it looks like at work there's some drama going on, basically, wherever you're working or with whatever you're trying to do to feel productive in the community. There's some drama going on. We've got somebody that is having an absolute conniption fit over something. And because of them having a fit, that is pushing you into doing something or making some kind of change that you're not really feeling all that good about. You just don't feel like you have a choice about that change. And I think that part of that change has to do with things that you're telling other people or information that you're passing along to other people, that you're being, because of this fit that this person is having, you're having to pass along different information than what you would prefer to, given an ideal situation. Now, let's look at inner work. Your inner work is really sometimes related to the outer work in a big way. I think we have a different situation that we're looking at here. But I think there's somebody who is in your personal life as I'm looking at this. There's somebody in your personal life who is really limiting themselves through their own moods and through their own perspectives and how they're looking at things. And your inner work is figuring out, okay, when is it time for me to pass along wisdom or information to this person? And when is it time for me to be quiet and let them figure things out for themselves? So inner work is about figuring out when's a good time to actually give advice and when is not. Okay? Now, we're going to look next at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded as we move through this time frame of July 8th through the 11th. I see you really growing in the idea of hermetizing during this time frame. And this has to do with cutting out those people who are toxic, or cutting out those situations that are toxic, and spending time by yourself really looking at, okay, what was wrong with that? What makes me tick? Why did that trigger me? You know, reevaluating different circumstances so that you can get into a circumstance that's more healthy than whatever it is that you had with this toxic person or toxic situation. All right, Cancers, next up for the 8th to 11th, we're looking at things that you stand for. You are definitely setting some boundaries between yourself and somebody else. And there's somebody else who just really does not want to make changes. They want things to keep going forward the way that they've always gone forward before. And you're setting up boundaries. You're saying, you know what? It wasn't working the way we were doing it before. Things have to change. And so you're setting up these boundaries or these restrictions or limitations in your contact with this person or in how you interact with this person, because you're refusing to let things go forward as they have before. And I think that a lot of those boundaries has to do with the idea that this person is not making those changes. And so you're kind of holding them at arm's length, like, okay, until you can make these changes, I really can only do so much with you. And then after that, our interactions have to end. That's what we've got going on there. Next thing we're looking at, Cancers, has to do with how other people perceive you. So this other person is somebody who's trying to look at everything logically. They're trying to be very honest with the situation. Their perception of you, though, is that you're kind of blocking everything up, especially if you're in some kind of long-term commitment with this person, or if a long-term commitment is what's on the table. They're seeing you as holding this up and holding it up intentionally. And they're seeing you as somebody who that you just want to be friends, basically, is what you're saying. Like, I want to be friends. I don't want to be hanging out with you all the time. I want to be somebody that we talk and we catch up once in a while, but, you know, I don't want to be a big-time player in your life, and I don't want you to be a big-time player in my life. Okay? And that's how they is, you know, holding those boundaries really is what's here. All right, so next thing that we're going to look at talks to me about the pivot point that's happening in this week. So this is the point where things start to change direction, or they start to flex a little bit. Okay? And so what we have going on here you've got a person that you're interacting with that has made some unfair decisions towards you. And because they've made some unfair decisions, they have actually handicapped any kind of relationship that you would have had. Now, we could be talking about romantic relationship or partnership, but we could also be talking about a friendship or a work relationship or even a family relationship. But it looks like whatever's happened here, there have been some unfair decisions that were made in sort of a corrupt way. There was a lot of untruthfulness or illusion around these decisions. And it has brought really defeat. It's brought you guys to this stalemate, this place of no return in the relationship. Okay, so as this is happening, there are some other things going on too. So we want to look at some of these other things that are related. So it looks to me like some of the illusions that are coming up talk about the idea that you were apart for a while, you and this other person, you weren't with each other for a while in the past. Probably not that long of a while, just a short while. And where there's illusions that come up that have to do with this decision that handicapped whatever your relationship was, you're finding out that while you guys were apart, this other person was just out living the high life, checking out all kind of other options, and they're basically letting you know, hey, we weren't together, you and I weren't working things out, even on a friend basis, okay? We're on a business partnership basis. And so this person was, maybe interviewing other people for business partners, or, maybe meeting other people to, find somebody who was a friend that they could relate to. Or if this is romantic, this is somebody, dating other people while you were apart. And I think that actually comes out. That comes out. That was the illusion that was going on. That caused this unjust decision that really, it was lying and deceptive acts, which really handicapped whatever you guys had going on in a really unfair way. Okay, let's look next, Cancers, at what else is going on during this time frame. This is a really confusing situation. I feel bad for you guys who are going through this. So at the same time that you're discovering this illusion that caused these problems, or actually is causing these problems during this week, where this person's making unfair decisions that are hobbling everything. And isn't it funny, because this person was really kind of pushing you to make this decision, to give them another chance, and now they're the ones that are making decisions that are handicapping everything. We have this idea again of an equilateral relationship, something where there's a lot of give and take, but there's also betrayal. There's also a third party involved, and there is love between this person and the third party. Now this is definitely some type of relationship thing. So this is not something like between you and an employer. This could be, this could still be a business thing where somebody meets somebody who might be a good business partner and they really like that business partner. So it's like at the same time that you have decided, okay, it's against my better judgment, but you've got my back against the wall. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try this again. At the same time that you guys are just trying this again, this person is still communicating with other people who are basically in a competitive stance to you. All right, let's see how you end the week. See how you end the week, Cancers. I hope you guys put on your hard hat and your seatbelt. I wasn't expecting it to be this rough. Yeah. Okay. So it looks to me like you guys end the week after you find out that, okay, I gave you the second chance and you've totally blown it, basically is where we are. At the end of the week, you're like, you know what? Done. Done with any second chance. Done with this. That was against my better judgment to give you a second chance anyway. But you know what? Thank you, because now I know how I feel about you. Now there's no doubt in my mind about whether I want to continue anything with you or not. I don't. I don't. And you know what? On top of that, also, I'm going to tell you, it's a relief not to be with you anymore. That's what you're going to be saying to this person end of the week, Cancer. You're going to be saying, I thought we could give it a second chance. I thought that you really wanted this. I thought you were going to put in the energy and effort to make things different. You didn't. You didn't. Not only did you not, you're still basically interviewing other candidates for whatever this position is, and I'm not having it. You don't get to tell me that I'm the one and interview other people at the same time. And so you're just done. And it actually is bringing you relief to be done with this, because it was against your better judgment to start with. It was stressing you out to even give this second chance. And so there's a lot of relief here about, okay, cool. Now I know. Where before I might have wondered if we'd made a bad decision, now I know we did the right thing. It's over. You've got your closure. You're done with that. And I think that's going to be, you're not even going to be wanting to communicate with this person anymore, Cancers. All right, so that's our first little time segment. I'm going to go ahead and take a break. And welcome back, Cancer. This is going to be the segment that covers July the 12th through the 18th for you. I'm just reshuffling the cards as we get ready to rock and roll with this reading again. Let's see what we have coming up. Like I said earlier, if you would like to fast forward through me working with the cards, feel free. Won't hurt my feelings at all. If you like to be a witness to this time, then that's fine too. All right. So let's look first, Cancers, at your environment, just like we did last time. Same thing. Environment's going to be any place where you have energy or effort invested. So it looks like you're sharing your environment with somebody who is very comfortable with expressing their feelings, very comfortable with expressing how they feel, why they feel the way that they do. But it looks like also that this is not working out really well as you're trying to share that environment with them. It seems like communication is really trouble. And I think that you're actually trying to tell them that this just isn't working whenever we're looking at this time frame from the 12th to the 18th. Excuse me, sorry about that. I'd forgotten I'd turned that timer on, actually. All right, let's look next at subconscious leanings during the time from the 12th to 18th. It looks like you would really like to find a way to have a situation that would be a fair and equal and balanced situation. And this is something that you've gone back to this situation, even though before it left you depleted. You've gone back to this situation. And I think that you've gone back to this situation because there is an attraction there. Now, the attraction could be something sexual, but attraction has a lot of different hues and meanings for it. I mean, there could be, you know, an attraction because of financial reasons, or there could be an attraction to something, you know, because it's a great fit as far as for a workplace. But there's something going on here where you've gone back to something that before was not working out because you were ending up depleted, because there's something attractive to you about this situation or this person, whichever way that that's playing out for you. And your subconscious is really looking at, okay, how can we make this into a good situation where we have balanced decisions being made, where things are fair and equal and even between the two of us. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about learning style right now. Everything seems to be in the shadows. Everything that you're trying to find out, everything that you want to learn about, everything that you're trying to understand, or at least the main themes for this week, just seem to be in the shadows. It's like the specifics and information just seems to be a little bit out of reach. You're getting kind of a hazy view of whatever this information is that you're looking for. And then as far as your communication style, you are communicating in ways that definitely carry emotion, but also are very stable. Like, you're saying the same things. You're not changing your story or changing your tune, and you are trying to bring peace into a situation. You are trying to bring harmony into a situation. And so for learning, I think you're really trying to understand how can you bring that peace and harmony into a situation, but it seems like that's just a little bit out of reach. Like, it's just not quite possible. And as far as communication, you're still working on that anyway. Even though you feel like you're working a little bit in the blind when it comes to that, that's still what you're trying to focus on. Next thing that we're looking at, Cancers. Talks to me about how some other person perceives you. They see you as being somewhat mystical or mysterious, like you hold secrets that you don't necessarily share with them. And they also see you as somebody who is very communicative with the outside world and with other people. And yet they don't see you as being very excited about pursuing anything with them. Like, you feel more interested in the outside world, and like you're just really holding back whenever it comes to this person. And this person is probably the one who yeah, this person is going to be somebody who challenges you on something that you believe. Okay. So next thing I want to look at is those things that you stand for. We've kind of gotten a little bit out of order here. There's always a reason, isn't it? So it looks like you have a situation from somebody from your past who somehow managed to betray you, and you're giving that person a new beginning. Okay? We kind of already saw that last week. That may be what we're talking about here. And somebody's confronting you on this. They're like, why? Why are you starting over? Why did you start over with this person? Okay? And I think actually this looked like it really ended last week, but we've still got residue coming through. So it looks like you ended it, but yet somehow it's still hanging around. It hasn't really gone out of your life yet. All right. So yeah. The next thing that I'm looking at here is work for you right now. It looks like your work may have to do with helping people who have addiction issues or something that they're obsessed about. So you may be doing some kind of counseling or some kind of therapy. You could also be in a situation where you're helping people find resources in situations like that. Situations where people have made a lifestyle change and then maybe fallen backwards, your work has to do with helping that person to find hope to bring things back on track again. Okay? And your inner work really has to do with this idea that you have something that you're obsessing about and you're going backwards with this thing that you've been obsessing about. And your inner work is this idea of finding some hope here. And I think this goes a couple of ways. I think that you want to hope that going back to this thing that you were obsessing about is going to be something that works out well for you. The problem is if it's something that you're obsessing about, that tends to not be the result. And so the other way that this is coming up is you may also be looking for hope and finding hope in the idea of getting away from this thing that you were obsessing about. And it feels to me like you're flip-flopping back and forth about what you're hoping for. Like, are you hoping for this obsessive thing to actually work out? Or are you hoping to beat this obsessive cycle and get out of it and find happiness on the other side, on the outside of this cycle? So you've got both of those flip-flopping back and forth. And I think this is actually bringing you a lot of conflict as you're facing yourself and your own inner work. Okay, next thing I want to look at is that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded as we're going through the 12th to the 18th. Okay, so you're in a situation where you're just not feeling secure. This is not feeling good to you. It feels like you don't have enough of the things that you need, basically. But there is love in this situation. This is a really confusing mess. There is love in this situation, even though you're feeling depleted again. You're feeling straight up depleted again. And there's somebody around you who is trying to be generous to you, trying to share things with you. But I don't think this is the person that's making you feel depleted. I think this is somebody else who's just trying to be there for you. This may even be a father figure. But even though there's strong love here, and even though you've got somebody here who's trying to help you, yeah, you're just feeling like you're losing everything. And I'm hearing all over again, you're feeling like you're losing everything all over again. It's like you've gone into a cycle that is not healthy. Okay. And water signs, we tend to be empathic. I can say that because I'm a Scorpio sun and a Pisces moon. Well, plus I'm a Scorpio, Mercury, and a couple other planets too. I've got a lot of Scorpio in me. But we tend to be empathic, and we tend to kind of root for the underdog, and we want to help. We kind of take in all the strays around, and we try to help them. And it seems like you've kind of gotten into this cycle of taking in somebody who maybe is the underdog, and it's just taking all of your resources and dragging you down. This seems like the cycle that you're in here. Let's look at the pivot point for the week. That's what I want to look at next. Okay. So it looks to me like you're dealing with somebody who may be feeling depressed, interacting with somebody who maybe is feeling depressed. I think you guys have strong chemistry. I think some of the comfort that this person may be finding could actually be behind closed doors, little hot sizzling nighttime action. Not necessarily at nighttime, if you know what I mean. But the problem is that even though you guys have some chemistry going on here, this person is depressed, and there's not love here anymore. There's not that in love feeling anymore. I think that you guys, with this cycle, going back and forth on this cycle, that's kind of gone. And that may be a part of why this person is depressed. And so it looks to me like, you know, you guys are seeing that, okay, things are really good. You're able to create the things that you want to do. If this is sexual, you're able to create wonderful, great times together in that manner. If this is like a business thing, you guys, you're seeing that you're able to work together and really meet your goals. But number one, the other person is really depressed no matter how good you do. And number two, there just isn't that bond. There isn't that connection. There isn't an emotional connection between the two of you that makes you actually want to work together. So there's a big hole in this. You guys are meeting your goal, whatever your goal might be, or your goals, but it's not fun. It's not fun. And that, I think that would cause a struggle. Like, okay, well, you're meeting your goals, but you're not having fun. Are you going to settle for just meeting your goals without having fun? Or do you want to have fun and also meet your goals? Like, what are you going to choose here? Excuse me. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, so you are feeling really ungrounded by this situation and confused about which way to go. You're trying to show patience towards this other person because of whatever it is that you're manifesting, whether it's chemistry in the bedroom or whether it's, the big paycheck, whatever it is that you're manifesting, that's making you want to be patient. And I think you're ungrounded enough to not be sure how this is going to turn out. And so you're just trying to be patient and sit back and just sort of wait and see how this turns out. At the same time, you're not making any plans to move forward with this person. You're happy with, whatever it is, whatever goals you're meeting, you're very happy with that, but you don't want to make any forward long-term plans with this person at all because this partnership is not equal. There's one putting in more than the other person. And because there's one putting in more than the other person, like you can have some really great happy moments together, but you don't want to go that distance long term because if one's putting in more than the other and you happen to be the one putting in more, that's going to drag you down. And that's kind of what it looks like to me. I mean, this other person is depressed. They don't have energy to put a lot in. You're the one that's being patient here. Okay? You're being patient, but you're not making any long-term goals. You're not making any long-term commitment at this point. You're just waiting to see what happens because you're very aware that this is a very unbalanced situation. We end the week with things really being turned upside down. And I think that this is you not settling for this unhappiness as you're meeting your goals. And I think that as we end the week, you are exploring at least one of your other options and checking that out. And it's kind of keeping things interesting for you because I think you know that you're unhappy enough in this other situation that even though you guys are meeting your goals, whichever goals they might happen to be, that's not going to work for you long term. And so this is starting to get interesting when you're starting to explore with other people. I think also, though, besides it being interesting, I think there is definitely some bittersweet about this. There's definitely some sadness in this idea of, I think you're having a hard time sort of letting go of what you were hoping would work out, and it's just obviously not working out. So there is some sadness in this, even as you're exploring another option. I do feel like there is some sadness in this, but I feel like also, you know that you need to be, you need to be looking at other opportunities because I think in your heart of hearts, you know that this isn't going to go anywhere. And so that's what you're doing. You're just looking at other opportunities. And it does sort of turn your world upside down because you were not really wanting to do that. You were wanting for this to end well. You wouldn't have given it a second chance if you hadn't wanted it to end well. Okay? So that is the week from the 12th to the 18th. Let me go ahead and tie up those loose ends, and then I'll come back and we'll look at the next time frame. Then I'm going to come back and we're going to go on to the next time segment when I get back. So I'll see you soon. Okay, Cancer, we are back. And this time we're going to be looking at the time frame from July 19th through the 25th. Let's see if you have a less conflicted week, shall we? It's all we've really seen so far is a little bit of inner turmoil, so maybe a little external in the first week, mostly internal in the second week. All right, let's take a peek. We're ready to put down some cards and see what they say. Okay, Cancers. First of all, let's take a peek at your environment during this time frame. All right, so it does look like you managed to spend some time alone early on in the week, and by the end of the week, you are ready to be more social. And it looks like you're considering if you want to continue on with something that you've started in your environment, or if it's time to bring that to an end and move forward. This could be, you might be considering if you want to renew a lease. This might be considering if, you want to keep your cabinets a certain way, or if you want to do something different. But this is something that you have already begun, and you began this kind of as a leap of faith. Now you're just deciding, okay, you know what? Yes, I want to continue this. And this is coming up as you are doing something positive financially around this. So to me, this would be, if this was a lease, definitely this would be you continuing on with the lease. If there's something else going on in your environment that takes energy and effort to keep it going, maybe you started doing some rehabbing, you may be considering, you know what, do I just want to sell this place and be done with it, or do I want to continue with the rehab? This would be continuing on with the rehab. There's something that you've already begun in your environment. I think you really took some time, took a break from working on whatever this was, and really took the time to think about, okay, and I mean about this. This is not like a fleeting thought that you had. Do I want to continue on with this or not? And you've decided, yes, I am going to go ahead and continue to put energy or effort into this. I don't have a person here, but if this is about a person in your environment and you were thinking about, do I want to keep this person in my environment or not? This would be deciding, yes, I do. I want to continue forward with this. Okay, next thing that we're looking at here, Cancers, talks to me about your subconscious leanings. So subconscious, you definitely are, subconsciously you are working on getting more grounded yourself. You are working on becoming more attentive to things that are in the tangible material world, less attentive to emotional things. You're working on becoming more logical. And it looks to me like your subconscious is thinking about leaving behind something that has left you feeling drained and depleted. So your subconscious mind is really, in your subconscious, you're working on, how do I get more grounded? How do I get more logical about this? What am I going to do? How am I going to pull this off? How am I going to get out of this situation that is dragging me down? Okay. Now, next thing that we have coming up talks to me about learning style and communication style. Whew, we almost have an exact repeat of learning style from last time. There is still information that you're looking for, and a lot of it is still coming through in a really foggy, hazy way. There is some stuff that you have been very persistent about trying to find out the details about, and those things that you have been persistent and continued to dig and research, those things are starting to come out. I don't feel like you've still got a clear picture of whatever this is that you're trying to find out about or learn about, but excuse me, it is definitely more clear than it was last week. Now, as far as communication style, you're being very careful about what you say to somebody. You're making sure that you are pulling back from emotions. You're trying to, instead of saying things in a very emotional way, instead of shouting, instead of crying, you're trying to say things in a very calm way. You're trying to communicate very clearly. And I think that you're also trying to put the best spin on things as you're communicating. Excuse me. And you're very solid in your communication. You're not wishy-washy at all. What you're communicating is not changing as we go through this time period from the 19th to the 25th. It's staying very much the same. Now, next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about work. Okay. So, you definitely could be traveling for work. And I think if you're traveling for work, this is something that makes you feel like where maybe you were feeling a little bit left out. Maybe you weren't allowed to travel or weren't able to travel for work before. Now you are traveling. To me, this looks like the pay for this, respectable pay for this traveling. You could be traveling for a new job to get respectable pay. You know, you could be making a commute. You could even be moving because of a new job. Or, although I kind of doubt it because it looks like you renewed your lease. You renewed something in your home. So I doubt if you're moving, but you could be actually traveling quite a bit for your new job. And this is good pay. This is good pay, and it makes you feel there's a social aspect to this that makes you feel like a part of life and like you're making a difference. Okay, so that has to do with your work. And then Cancer's the next thing that we're looking at about work is that inner work thing. Once again, we see you moving away from something that was having a negative impact on your life. You're moving into something where you start to feel relieved. You start to feel like there's a little bit of breathing room, and where you start to feel like life has a nice ebb and flow to it, a nice balance to it. So really nice to see. This is some positive, healthy stuff coming out as far as inner work. Love to see stuff like that. Next, we're going to look at that part of you that's being grown or expanded, or that part of your personality that's being grown or expanded right now. There is a little bit of confusion going on, and there is a little bit of pity party happening here. Even as you're trying to look at everything very logically and make sound logical decisions, your emotions are in a kind of funky place. You're feeling a little bit blech and off. You may be feeling a little bit angry and aggravated about how things turned out. And I think that you may even be really telling somebody some things that you've been holding back on, that you were holding back on things, and you just thought, you know, I think you come into this point where I think you just come into this point where you've been really confused and you're holding back. You're not really letting anybody know how confused you have been. And now you're at a point now where you're just like, you know what? You are sharing this, and you're sharing it very energetically and very enthusiastically. You're letting somebody know. I haven't been able to tell up from down lately. And I think you're kind of fired up about it. And with this being something like a part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now, then this is not just happening once during this time frame. This is happening multiple times. It may be that you're going to see a counselor, or that you're talking to a really good friend and just trying to get some perspective, trying to get grounded, and, releasing where you've been holding back and just letting somebody know, I'm really confused and I need some help just understanding what's happening in my life. Can you give me your perspective? I feel like this is somebody that you trust greatly that you're talking to. And like I said, I think this is happening more than one time in this time frame. You may be talking to more than one person about the same situation, or you may have multiple situations coming up that you're having to, get somebody else's perspective on. Or at least admit that you're really confused about the whole situation. All right, next we're going to look at things that you stand for. Okay, so I think there was something going on that was making you feel left out. And when that started happening, you started looking for other ways to feel included. All right, and so as you started looking for other ways to feel included, I think you've been very honest with whoever was making you feel left out. You've been very open and honest with them, and you've told them, I don't really feel like I'm a part of your life, or, I don't really feel like, if it's a work thing, I don't really feel like you're using me to my full potential. And so you're letting them know that, you know what, I'm looking for other opportunities here. I'm looking for something else. And actually, I've been talking to something else. I've been talking to another company, or if this is about a relationship, I've been talking to somebody else that, doesn't make me feel these negative feelings, doesn't make me feel disappointed or left out. And I think you're being very open and honest about that. You're not keeping any secrets there. All right? And somebody is saying, why are you letting people know? And you're having to defend that idea that you're letting other people know. Now, how other people see you, or at least how this person is seeing you, this is interesting. I think this person is actually cutting off communication with you. They're seeing you as getting into your own groove and doing your own thing. And I think that you have a support network around you that is helping you to accomplish your goals and achieve what you're looking to achieve. And they're seeing you being very successful with that. They're seeing you get into your own groove. They're cutting off communication. And they're cutting off communication because you've been looking at other opportunities. Because you were honest with them about it. And so they want to take a break from communicating with you. I don't feel like this is a permanent cut. I feel like this is kind of their way of sulking or pitching a fit, if you want to say it like that. So I don't think that that's permanent, but I do think that that's their reaction. So let's look at the pivotal point during the week. So, pivotal point during the week, this is really interesting. You definitely are handling things in a logical way. You're looking at things very clearly, very, very precisely. You are taking the emotion out of things. But I think that you're doing this by the skin of your teeth. Like you're barely able to hold on and do this in a logical, rational way. But you are moving on from that thing that's been having a negative influence on you, whether it's a person or a company or whatever. You're moving on, maybe just by the skin of your teeth, but you are. Okay? You know that this is the right thing to do, but your emotions are sort of holding you, or trying to hold you back. But I see you actually moving on. Maybe not in a very strong way, but you are actually moving on from that thing that was holding you back. Now, at the same time that this is happening, you're actually being very focused on moving on from whatever this was that was holding you back. And it looks to me like this energy that was holding you back or dragging you down may be somebody who, well, it's somebody that was deceptive. They were straight up deceptive to you. They may have also been moody. They may have also sort of told you, well, this is what it takes to make me happy. And then whenever you did that, they're like, well, that's good, but that doesn't really make me happy. You have to do this, you know, and just set the bar that much higher. And, you know, they've been kind of, basically they've been telling you, you know, you're not really good enough. You're really not all that. Even though I feel like they're wanting to be a part of your life in whatever capacity that you guys are connected, whether it's business, friendship, romantic, whatever. They're wanting that, but they also have this thing of, well, you know, this could be better about you. That could be better about you. Okay, and so you are really focused about leaving that behind. You're recognizing that as a negative influence on you, and you're really focused about leaving that behind. So even though you might be doing it just by the skin of the teeth, you're doing it by the skin of the teeth because of the focus that you're putting into this. So what else is happening as you're leaving that negative influence behind? Interesting. You are still communicating or interacting with this person, but not at the same level that you used to. And as you're communicating or interacting with this person, you're starting to see how this situation is not ideal. And I feel like that's like the least way that I can state this most situation when I say it's not ideal. This is just not a good, healthy situation. And I think that you're starting to see that. It's like the more focused you are on keeping those boundaries up between you and this person, the more you're starting to see, as far as at that higher level that they used to be in your life, the more you're just letting them in a little bit, the more you're starting to see, the more you're starting to get an objective view of this, the more you're starting to get a little bit of distance and being able to look at this like from the outside in and seeing, okay, well, I see why that didn't work now. I see why we were never such a good idea. So you're starting to really understand, you know, why it was that you guys ended up not feeling so compatible to each other in the long run. Now, end of the week, what do we have going on here? We have a real transformation going on. And this transformation has to do solely and completely with you. You're completely letting go of this old situation. You're finding yourself independent of this relationship. Like I said, whether it's romantic, friendship, business, whatever, you're finding yourself as an independent person. And you are working with other people to do some of the things to fill your time, to have company, to have people around you. I don't think you're putting anybody in this other person's place because you're still showing up as an independent individual, but you have your support network that you're working with as you are letting go of this old situation that has had you really cycling and in this tumultuous confusion headspace for a while. Okay, so I like that ending. That seems like you're starting to find your peace during this time frame. This is a way cool, much better time frame than what we looked at before. Yay! All right, so I'm going to take one last break and then come back and we'll look at the last week of this month. Okay, Cancers, we are back to look at your last segment of July. Hopefully this last 6 days will be smooth sailing Wouldn't that be nice to have smooth sailing? Let's see what happens for you guys. Still just shuffling the cards. I want to shuffle till it feels right. That's pretty much what I normally do, just shuffle till it feels right. Spirit kind of lets me know when that is. Every once in a while a card will fall. A lot of times I'll take that. Once again, kind of follow Spirit's nudge on that too. Sometimes Spirit says, maybe not. So then we shuffle it back into the deck. But most times I take the ones that fall. All right, well, none of them fell this time, but it does feel right, so we're going to start putting down your cards for this last week. I hope you guys are enjoying this more comprehensive read than what I was doing before. Whoops, sorry about bumping the camera. It would be great to hear some feedback since this is the first month that I'm doing monthlies instead of weeklies. And these monthlies are, you know, they're just a lot more comprehensive than the weeklies. The weeklies were usually about 3 minutes long. Anything longer than that was kind of long for a weekly. So we're looking at a lot more information in these. But it is also a lot longer. And that's not always a good thing for you guys out there in the audience, so let me know. Let me know what you think, Alrighty. Your pivotal for this last week should be interesting. It's all water cards. Okay, we're going to start with environment, though. So, environment. Okay. All right, Cancers. There's something going on here in your environment where I feel like you have good self-confidence, you have good self-esteem. I'm happy to see that. At the same time, though, you are restricting yourself or limiting yourself in some way. There's something that you're holding yourself into that nobody else is doing this to you. You're the one that's doing this to you just because of your own perspective. So if you're feeling paralyzed about something having to do with your environment, you may want to look at what somebody else's perspective might be and see if you can get any clues from there how to get yourself unparalyzed, because this is causing you to have a hard time making decisions about things that you want in your environment, and it's causing you to have a hard time keeping sight of the integrity of your environment. What is your environment supposed to be doing for you? So even though I'm really glad to see your self-esteem is good, your self-confidence is good, your ego is in a good place, not an arrogant place, a good place, but there's something going on here that needs to be worked out, some kind of obstacle or resistance to the idea of having clarity about what it is that you actually expect from your environment and knowing how to make that happen where the rubber meets the road. Okay, so you just need to look at it from a different perspective and you'll get a good hint about what that has to do with and your solution there. Okay, let's look at subconscious leanings. Subconscious leanings have to do with work and the idea that the work that you're doing right now is not exactly what you want. It's very close to what makes you feel satisfied and happy, but it's not exactly. And so you feel like there's better out there. And it looks to me like you are putting some energy and effort into finding something that is a better fit for you. This looks like this has the potential to sort of suck you into some negative habits or some negative thoughts, and it looks like you're kind of realizing that it has the potential to suck you into that. And so I think that's why you're starting to really put some energy and effort into looking for a place that is more ideally suited to you than the place where you are right now. Okay? Nice to see we actually are shifting our focus more to work during this week. It's good to have different things that we're focusing on during the month instead of just one thing all the time. That sucks away our balance, you know. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about learning style and also communication style. I'm really liking this. Things are coming through clearly. The things that you're learning about, the things that you are digging for information on, you're finding nice, solid information. Information that you can count on. Information that's honest and truthful. You're basically finding information that you can use to make good decisions moving forward. Now, as far as your communication style, I think that you are communicating very quickly with other people around you. And you're able to really see the positive, and you may even be communicating about some of the dreams or aspirations that you have and helping other people to understand them and see them. And I think it may be that as you're communicating those things, those dreams and aspirations, somebody around you is sort of giving you a reality check, like, oh yeah, that's really great that you have those. Not telling you not to have those, but I want you to look at this aspect and how it can influence it. So they're basically trying to help you fine tune how you can achieve those dreams or aspirations that you have. Okay? Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about work for you. Now we know your subconscious leanings are already around work, so this is going to be related to some of that. It looks to me like you're doing a lot of work that is independent or by yourself. You may be starting something that is just yours on the side, or it may be that the work that you do for somebody else causes you to spend a lot of alone time. You know, before we saw that you were traveling, maybe you're spending some time kind of more or less alone and with your own thoughts while you're on the road, going from place to place. It does look like there's some kind of new beginning at work. You may be getting a promotion, or you may be getting some old clients back that you had before that had gone away. They may be coming back. There are definitely some changes going on at work that are bringing in something new. And I'm hearing that there's some kind of new business for you here. So that's kind of cool. Now, as far as inner work, this looks to me like your inner work is that you are making some kind of lifestyle change. I think this is the first time that you've tried this particular lifestyle change, and it's something that I think you want to make yourself feel more healthy and maybe even more youthful that you're doing. So some kind of lifestyle change that increases your health and possibly your youthfulness. Maybe you're doing yoga so you can be more limber. Just an example. Could be a lot of ways the rubber hits the road on that, Cancers. Now, la da 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 da. Next thing we're going to look at is how your personality is being grown or expanded in this particular time frame. Okay, so Cancers, it looks like you guys are taking a break. I don't know if y'all have ever heard this song. I'm definitely dating myself on this. It's by Juice Newton. Love's been a little bit hard on me. I think you're taking a break from love for a while, at least romantic love. And if you're coupled with somebody, you're just maybe taking a break from, you know, trying so hard to make that relationship work. You know, it looks like I said, you've been through some hard stuff where it comes to love. And so you're just, your energy level is depleted and you're just feeling like, I just need to be me for a while. I need to be in a situation where I'm not thinking about somebody else or looking out for somebody else. I need to start taking care of myself. Okay? And so this is, I see you making several decisions because this is where your personality is being grown or expanded here. So from the 26th to the 31st, you're not making just one decision to really be taking care of yourself and sort of take a break from uh, trying to deal with love issues or trying to make things better. So, yeah, just taking a break from that. Now, this is a temporary break. It's not like you're not ever going to have love again or you're not ever going to work on this relationship again, whatever, however that's pertaining in your life. It's temporary, this break, but you are taking one. Alrighty. Next, let's look at those things that you stand for during this time of the 26th through the 31st. It looks to me like somebody has tried to talk you into something or convince you of something, and I think that you have sort of manipulated your way out of whatever it is this person's tried to talk you into. I mean, this could be somebody that just says, try sushi. It's the greatest thing ever. You know, and then you could say, isn't it my turn to pick the restaurant? And then you don't pick a restaurant that serves sushi. You know, I mean, this doesn't have to be a big, nasty manipulation. But I think that this is more coming across to me as something that you're doing to not have to do what this person is trying to get you to do in a way that doesn't make you confront the issue head on and possibly hurt their feelings. Okay? So just manipulating a situation in a way that is more sensitive. You know, this is not like trying to control somebody and rule their life. This is just trying to save yourself from having to do something that you don't want to do anyway. Okay? So, and I think somebody catches you with this, like they know that you're manipulating this on purpose, and so they say something to you about it, and so you have to defend your behavior there. How is this other person seeing you? Well, they're seeing you as somebody who is definitely someone that they can talk to a lot. There's a lot of communication going back and forth between the two of you. They're also seeing you as somebody who's a little bit impatient, and they're seeing you as somebody who is opening up to them. So you're talking to them a lot now, but before you really kind of didn't. Well, they hit on this thing that you're doing, and as soon as they understood what you were doing, I think it made you feel a little bit more comfortable in talking to them in general about different things of life. Okay? All right. So the next thing that we're going to look at has to do with the thing that is the direction changer for the week, or the pivotal point. Like I said, we've got all water coming up here, so this is going to be about emotions. It's interesting. I think what's going on actually is that you're a little bit bored or dissatisfied with the depth of your friendships or with the friendships that you have. And because of that boredom or that dissatisfaction, I think you are coming up with a plan to do something with your friends or to interact with your friends in a way that brings in satisfaction. So this feeling of, you know, there's not a lot going on between me and my friends right now. You're doing something to fix that. You're planning something where you guys can get together, or planning something that you guys can interact on together. So that's kind of nice. I like it. It's very proactive. So as this is going on, as you're making these plans actually may be, I think you're actually, as you're making these plans, part of what you're doing is you're telling somebody, you know what, I don't like it that it's been so long since we've seen each other, or that there's so much distance between us. You may be inviting them to come see you, or you may be saying, you know, we need to take a trip together. Or you may even be saying, you know, is it okay if I come and visit you? It's been too long since we've seen each other. And the other thing that happens here is, I think that whatever plans that you were hoping for to travel and see this person, I think that those get turned into, not right now, but, and you guys start setting a date and start making plans for when that can happen. And this could be COVID related or not, but I would imagine it probably has something to do with that. And I think that that does give you something to look forward to, but at the same time, I think you're pretty disappointed that you can't see each other right now. You can't be together and spend time together right now. But it does give you something to look forward to. Okay? Excuse me, just need to wet my whistle here. And then the last part of the week. I see you picking up some new responsibilities, and I think that this is probably at work. So you could be starting a new job. You could be getting a promotion. It could be that somebody is out sick, and you're picking up their responsibilities at work towards the end of the week. But I do feel like you're enjoying the idea of picking up these new responsibilities. I feel like it's stimulating to you. It's inspiring to you. It sort of changes up your routine, and I think that, like I said, I think you're enjoying these new responsibilities. The only thing that I see here that might be a problem is that you're not really getting any good news about money here, even though you're picking up responsibilities. So that's why I said maybe somebody's just out sick and you're covering for them, or they're on vacation and you're covering for them. Maybe this isn't an official promotion, or if this is an official promotion, it could be that, the pay raise that comes with it is not really what you think it should be. It's a little bit disappointing. But definitely picking up new responsibilities. Like I said, I think you're enjoying them. You're finding this actually liberating and freeing. You may even be feeling like this is adding to what you can put on your resume. It's adding to your understanding of the industry that you're in. There's a lot of good here in picking up these responsibilities. Like I said, the only fly in the ointment is that the money, honey, is not commensurate with what you're actually picking up. Okay? So, much better week for you, Cancers. I'm glad to see you ending the month on a much more positive place than a lot of the beginning of the month was. Very happy for you. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and hopefully I'll have it up either later on tonight or tomorrow. Okay, guys, peace out.